So this beastly movie from 10 years ago or so. Yeah, another fairy tale adaptation. Um, so sort of similar to what was it called? Like specifically Riding Hood, I think, or something. That I also commented on a few months or weeks earlier. Uh, but I prefer that honestly. Even if it is just due to, yeah, it's a bit strange to say, but I mean, yeah, this is all about uh, ugliness and such. But I mean, it's the whole point. Um, but yeah, Red Riding Hood, that specific movie was was more beautiful. Just how just simply, with regards to specifically the background, mostly. I mean, they and then they use CGI mostly to, for the wolves and everything. I was surprised they didn't use CGI here actually. But this is the thing, they did go a bit too far, perhaps. Like, I mean, did they need to do those notches there? It makes him look like he's just been had, he said he looks like some like a slasher in a horror movie, but he looked like he had been slashed and quite a lot, quite loads, a lot of times. I mean, it did look grotesque. I'm not sure exactly what anyone claimed there at one point that somehow he doesn't look repulsive. Not so much, the three sort of tattoos and stuff. Um, it was just strange, I suppose. But not too off-putting. More like a tattoo, I guess. I mean, people with tattoos are just people with tattoos. They're not really, tattoos don't naturally, they're just simply artistic expressions. Although, sure enough, they can be, well, dangerous as in, tattooing itself. But yeah, anyway, it I am surprised though it wasn't CGI. Now, I think it would have been better if it was though. Um, I mean, I don't know. Kind of like, I mean, there is a live action adaptation of Beauty and the Beast by Disney itself, and the Beast certainly looked better than that. Of course, they could have actually. I think that came after, so I don't know. I guess if they attempted it before, then they could have preempted Disney, I suppose, but they didn't. Yeah, it's interesting to try different things, as opposed to, a fairy beast. You have such a look. Apparently, the actor himself liked it, but yeah, I think it was a bit too much. The thing with the Beast, even in Beauty and the Beast itself, Disney's version. So I have only actually seen Disney's version. I know a ton exist. All different adaptations. I can't quite tell what they did. This is, I think, pretty much the first adaptation, live action adaptation besides the Disney version that I have watched. But yeah, quite didn't quite like per se how he ended up looking. He might have liked himself, but I didn't personally like it so much, especially the notches. What looks like slashes. It was too distracting. While they're doing that, and with regards to the romance itself, it's not really romance. It wasn't really, you know, it was very hasty at any rate. But either way, even if they try to do something, how he looked was distracting. It just was. So in the sense, having a fairy beast would be less distracting, because of course most animals are fairy. They're not ugly per se, just ugly from a human perspective, I suppose. If indeed they're, well, the Beast and Beauty and the Beast is actually standing on his legs. So on the front, it's strange at best. Yeah, I suppose not ugly per se. Uh, Looks more like a bird actually. But anyway, yeah. So you know, it wasn't though. It's. I mean, yeah. Uh, sure, critics didn't like it either. Although apparently the general audience somewhat liked it because the box office was certainly more than the budget they used to make this movie. Um, Audience in general seems to like it just a slight bit above average, 5 point something. Yeah, the 6 on IMDb, which is not still not, very good, but slightly above average at least. Actually, I'm not sure if average might be 6 or something. But anyway, but yeah, it's not really. I didn't think personally, at least, that it was really there. I mean, it wasn't a good romance. I mean, I've seen much better romances, and technically, didn't even have any sort of comedy either. So it wasn't even like a weak rom-com as such. It didn't have any comedy at all. So not having a strong romance then makes means that it doesn't have much, and it didn't have ultimately it didn't have the nice backgrounds either that Riding Hood had. I think that film was called Riding Hood. The Riding Hood adaptation. As a commando. Yeah. So it's the problem. I mean, as much as people also criticized Riding Hood for some reason, I did actually enjoy it there. As I said there, I thought the romance was certainly, but I mainly liked the backgrounds and the CGI generally. Thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, but not this. This didn't really. So see, it's kind of one of those things where some fairy tale adaptations sort of click more than others, I suppose. Uh, I don't know. Maybe it's the difference between one being located in some sort of imaginary, fantastic, snowy, you know, at the real land sort of thing. Even though the beginning there wasn't very. Anyway, yeah, and the other one being set in New York City, I suppose. New York City is just not exactly the most romantic of. I mean, apparently it's one of the dirtiest cities as well. So there we go. It's not exactly the best for romances, is it? One has got to admit, the original setting of Beauty and the Beast was better. Well, not the castle per se. Just the surroundings. They were also snowed in and such. But yeah, with regards to this, I was confused as well at the beginning. I thought he was Gaston of the Beast himself, so a bit strange that they didn't have a Gaston, I suppose. But yeah, um, yeah, it would have I think helped it if though they added more references to the original tale. Apparently, I read in some trivia that there was apparently some clock and candelabra apparently, but it must have been really quick because I missed them. So not quite a obvious references or anything. So this is the problem ultimately, and apparently it changed a bit from the book. The book is slightly different, although I can see why some changes were made. Because in the book it's more sort of hmm, the book more so resembles the original one. So I don't know. Yeah. Now, Disney's version of Beauty and the Beast specifically, I don't know if it's just because it's animated, but that version of this that adaptation of the tale, it's actually one of my favorite Disney movies. So It's not like I don't like the tale itself, but the way this was adapted really wasn't. And I got to admit, I mean, as much as they try to make him look hideous, on that front, I think they succeeded. But it was also a bit too much, distracting, as mentioned. Um, yeah, so that's the problem there. And then, of course, everything just happened. I mean, she went from "oh, you're a good friend" to "I love you" in a span of 5 minutes. So a bit unbelievable, in terms of what it was supposed to do. Disney's was more paced, I suppose. I could say more just it more believable, even though it was an animated form. It was more believable in this sense. But yeah, I got to admit, animation ultimately does succeed often where live action fails because I mean, unless the animation just looks horrid, but it usually doesn't. Especially if it's a horror movie, it normally isn't horrid unless somehow people dedicated so much of their efforts to making a horrid animation. But yeah. Uh, so in terms of this, I did actually watch another live action adaptation in the last few months now of a fairy tale, that is specifically. If the shoe fits, yeah, which I didn't like that much, but actually in terms of romance, uh, it wasn't spectacular, but it was better than this one actually. It tells you a lot, just that actually had a bit more comedy though. So, yeah. So yeah, that was, unless I'm mistaken, based on Cinderella. So in a way, these are all also what Disney. Of course, this is not Disney's original adaptations. And it really derived them from even earlier sources, but many people, I'm assuming, have first come across them in Disney. Although I'm not entirely sure if I actually watched the Cinderella one from Disney specifically, and I don't think I've watched the some sort of. Don't think Disney has Red Riding Hood, does it? Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, this specifically though, this basically, yeah, it wasn't really that entertaining. Yeah. Um, yeah.